I made a soccer commercial for our local soccer team. You may have already seen it, and if you have, great. You might have been one of the people asking for a breakdown. And here we are, we're delivering. If you haven't seen it yet, don't worry, we'll get you caught up to speed. All right, let's play it.
Chattanooga Red Wolves play their first match of the new year. Here comes Chattanooga now. Puts it in! Finds the back right
corner. Story time. This was the quickest project I've ever done. So I had a phone call with the guy Friday, okay? Fast forward to Monday, I'm filming. Boom. Fast forward to Thursday, I have to have the deliverable ready for the presentation on Friday. So literally a week from phone call to final deliverable. W-9 was sent in the midst of that, and figured out the plan on what to do. I was also out of town that weekend, so literally just a very, very quick project. That being said, though, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Normally, I would probably not say yes to a project like that with that quick of a turnaround, but this is a project that's kind of in the niche that I really want to start going down in the sports advertising world. So this was a good opportunity for me. Budget wasn't crazy, but a little bit of money and a really cool piece to put on my portfolio and also make a video out of for YouTube. So before we jump into the timeline, I do want to break down a few things that I was thinking through when going into filming this. First off, I knew I really wanted this to be fast-paced. I watched a lot of examples on Vimeo, some of my favorite creators. I mean, it's not too hard to find some inspiration from Danny Gevirtz on this channel. There's definitely some inspiration from him, Mark Bone. But really, before I go into any project, I do like to watch a bunch of examples, and Vimeo is going to be your best friend for finding examples like this. Vimeo is a great place. Go to their staff picks, go to their sports category. I just knew that this was a 30-second piece. It was going to be really fast paced. So what we were trying to do was show off their new jerseys for the year. And so I knew that I needed to get some good shots of the jerseys themselves, but I also wanted to show the action. So there's two atmospheres. There's obviously outside on the field, as well as inside the locker room or the clubhouse. And I knew I wanted the stuff in the locker house to be a little bit slower paced, less camera movement, and I wanted outside to be a lot more fast paced, intense, moving the camera a lot more. To kind of contrast the actually being out on the field versus you getting ready in the locker room. That's the time that I really want to show off some of these jerseys. I was filming almost all of this at 24 frames per second, and so my shutter speed was at 1/100th for anything that had a lot of motion. If it was just a little bit of motion, I was at 1/50th. And again, that was just to make it feel a lot more fast-paced. Each of these cuts are about a second long, and so the shutter angle kind of helps complement the quick cutness. Another thing I knew that I had to do for this shoot is if we were filming outside, I knew I had to go out at sunrise. And so I got out there 7 o'clock or so. They had training at 8, which just like, come on, like training, that's so soccer. Like that's not a shot, but like, come on, that's so soccer, training, not practice. So we had about 30 minutes to get everything we needed. We got it really soft in the sunrise, and I also wanted to make sure that I was backlighting them. The sun is behind them in the frame, and they're in between the sun and the camera. For the indoor shots, I knew I wanted to use haze. Haze just looks awesome. I knew I wanted to use some Nanlite Pavo tubes. I wanted to have some sort of effect of like some kind of sunbeam coming through. With a light outside the clubhouse. I'm happy with how it looked. I didn't get the beam quite how I wanted, and maybe I just didn't have enough light coming in or whatever, So we're about to jump into the timeline. Before we do that, I do want to mention that if you really liked the look of the color grade, I've actually converted it into a LUT, and I'm going to be selling it for the low price of $3. $3 because it's not a full LUT pack, it's only one. So if you do purchase this LUT though, you are going to get a discount when I do release later down the road my full LUT pack. And so think of it as you being an early adopter of this channel, you're going to get a discount down the road. So let's jump into the timeline. Okay, so in this breakdown, I want to talk about 3 different things in this edit. It's a 30-second edit, it's not super complex, but I want to break down sound design, cutting, and music. So we're going to start off with sound design. If I scroll down, you can see we're going to just do this for a little bit. There is a lot of sound design, and you might see that. And if you're not too familiar with sound design yet, this might be just unapproachable. This might be a big beast. You're like, how on earth could I ever do something like this? I used to see sound design or timelines that looked like this and just think it was unapproachable. Also, I get all of my sound effects from Storyblocks, from their audio library, Epidemic Sound, and some from YouTube. So if I do get a sponsorship from one of these companies down the road, just know that it's fully authentic because I used these before. I'm literally teeing up these companies perfectly right now for a brand deal. Just think about it. If you work at one of those, just think about it. I mean, I'm already doing the work. Just why not waste some money on me, you know? Okay, so when talking about sound design, I like to start off just pretty generic on ambiance that you would hear in the area. So these two shots, they're outdoors. Start off with just some birds chirping, some generic just outdoors. So right here I've got forest birds singing, nature, quiet, relax. We'll just solo those real quick. Option S. So literally just some birds. That's a start to the sound design. You build it out slowly over time. Sounds that are very apparent in the frame, I try and keep those minimal. Not too overbearing. More invisible sounds I like to bring up. So these birds, they're not in frame, but I like to bring those up because it helps put you in the atmosphere, but it can seem really cheesy. So like this guy moving his feet around the soccer ball, because you see that, I want that to be a little bit more subtle, because if it's too loud, it's just going to feel unnatural. Whereas invisible sounds, you have that flexibility to be a little bit louder. Let me solo these. Nothing crazy at all. If I were to turn that up too much, it just sounds fake. Okay, so slowly start building these up. Get your ambient things, get your Foley. What would you actually be seeing in frame? And then that's when you can start throwing in risers, whooshes, all that. I knew I wanted each of these cuts to be around like less than a second, around a second. You can see 1.5 seconds. That's a longer one. 1 second. 14 frames, so these are quick, and I knew the pace of the video would feel really cool if I did jump around to different sounds in between each scene. So you get the outdoors, and then we've got people showering in here. You've got a sound of them catching the soccer ball. This is actually a good transition into what I wanted to talk about: cuts. If you look in this piece, if you watch closely, I'm timing these cuts pretty intentionally. So he throws this soccer ball up, catches it. You hear a sound of him catching it. Let me just play it real quick. Catches it. As he catches it, as it's hitting his hand, we're cutting into another shot. It could be a completely different person. I don't know. It just feels natural when you cut on somebody else when they're doing the same action or the noise, or it just follows. So literally you can see the cut down here, the sound effect for him catching. So that's how we make that, we hide that cut and make it feel natural. Again, we do it again right here. Catch. He is catching it on this hand right here. So is the goalie catching it right there. It's all intentional. It just makes the cut feel better. And then we're cutting in between these different sound effects. You hear the showers, then you hear the outdoors again. It's like they're at football practice. Time your cuts on different cues in the actual frame, what's going on. So something else I'm doing with cuts, they are visually kind of following the same plane. So at the drop, which I like the drop, but I feel like it misses a little bit of oomph. I would have liked a little bit more. But he's running towards the ball, kicks the ball to the left, and then where does the guy catch it? You want to take a guess? He catches it to the left. So kicks the ball, boom, and then go into the left on the guy's hand. He catches it. It just makes sense in the cut. It feels right. I also use that sound to hide the next cut, so it just goes naturally. Again, you can see here, we're going to the left with the ball, going to the left. Boom. All right. Camera's moving to the left. Camera's moving to the left. It all just feels natural and just cohesively goes with the shot before it. Okay, so let's talk about music really quick. This music, I knew it wanted to be something subtle, not anything crazy. Very few songs are 30 seconds, which wouldn't that just be great for, there should just be more people that make songs that are 30 seconds for the sake of ads, but there's not too many of them. So there's a couple things I do. I try and hide cuts in music between whooshes, risers, all that, or just completely cut a song and pick up later on. We use 5 seconds right here and then 7 seconds right here. These were both, I try and align it up to the beat. Let's go ahead and play it. So around a beat, I matched them up, but I did cut to a completely different part of the song. It hides it all when you have some extra sound effects. Let's go to the part where I do the next song. So again, I transitioned to no music at all, actually. So right here. So we use that whoosh to hide to no song. We let the tension build up for a second for this hit. And then we go into just another part of the song that is the most action. Again, we cut up the music a little bit right here by switching to slow-mo and doing, we muffle the sound. Just add a little bit of muffled. We hide it by whooshes and visual cues. So let's just solo this song. Because the shot is in slow-mo and everything else is at normal speed, it does hide this a little bit better because look, he's in slow-mo right here and then it's back to fast-paced. But we also use whooshes in our final cut to help move us from one, the muffled part. It just makes it flow better. So also we use just a bunch of different sound effects of just stadium cheers to make the energy feel a lot higher. We just got crazy moving that camera around. Like, I looked ridiculous doing this shot right here. Like, I'm just running around this guy's feet. It looks ridiculous when you're watching from afar, but it actually looks really great on camera because of the motion. You can see these just swirls in the grass almost. It looks really cool. Yeah, so and then make sure you use risers and whooshes to help translate. So you see we're inside, slower paced, and then outside. That's two different scenes. So I use a little riser right here to kind of help move the scene. Obviously, because we do visually, I do it audibly as well. I'll just play just it. So some things to keep in mind. So don't be intimidated by sound design. Go ahead and start today. Just tack on layer by layer. Cuts, make sure you're motivating those cuts, whether that be visually or audibly. Make sure you have some motivation behind them. And then music, be creative on how you can use just what parts of the music you need to help tell your story, whether that be in a certain time or just create tension at certain parts. Get creative, but yeah, this was a really fun project. It was a really quick turnaround project. I'm blabbering. Did I miss anything crazy that y'all wanted to see? To the moon, baby. To the moon. Blake Army. All the things, man. 1,000 subscribers in a month? What? All right. Peace, y'all.